It's sometimes hard to imagine just how small Israel actually is, given the amount of media attention it gets. The whole country is just about the size of the state of New Jersey. You can drive it north to south in just about 6 hours. In this little space, there are 10 million people living as citizens of Israel today. About 75% of them are Jewish, and the majority of those Jews came from Middle Eastern and North African countries, and they're often called Mizrahim. The other 45% of the Jewish population in Israel is European or Ashkenazi. Additionally, about 20% of Israelis are Arab, who are either Muslim, Christian, or Druze, with over 85% of those Arabs being Muslim. Excluding the West Bank, Israel is very narrow. It's only 9 miles across in its most narrow part, which is near Netanya on the coast, very close to the border with the West Bank and a Palestinian city called Qalqilia. The main population center of Israel is along the Mediterranean coast near the city of Tel Aviv, located in the middle of the country. Tel Aviv and its adjoining neighborhoods and cities form a megalopolis, with between 3 and 4 million people, depending on how you count those boundaries. Other important cities to know about are Jerusalem, which is to the east and south of Tel Aviv, as well as Haifa, which is up in the northern Mediterranean coast. There are also desert towns like Beersheba and Eilat further south. The large southern part of Israel, which is more than half of Israel's total area, is mostly made up of the Negev desert and a few smaller cities. Up north, we have the upper and lower Galilee areas. These are beautiful, hilly, and sometimes lush parts of Israel. The largest concentration of Palestinian Israelis live up here. It also makes sense to talk a bit about the territories that Israel captured in the 1967 war. You can see the West Bank, which is on the western side of the Jordan River, but sits on the eastern side of Israel, if that's not confusing. And the West Bank is home to approximately 3 million people, 2.8 million Palestinians, and about 480,000 Jews. The West Bank was annexed by Jordan from 1950 until the Six-Day War, and East Jerusalem was annexed by Israel in 1980, which not all international bodies recognize, and it is home to 230,000 Jews. If you look down south, you'll see the Gaza Strip, this tiny area of land sandwiched between Israel, Egypt, and the Mediterranean. It was under the control of Egypt from 1949 until the Six-Day War, and is now home to approximately 2 million Palestinians. From 1967 until 2005, it was controlled by Israel, and during that time, there were about 8,000 Jews who settled in that land. All of those Jews and their homes were uprooted in 2005 when Israel unilaterally withdrew from the Gaza Strip. Finally, you can see up north near the border between Israel and Syria a part called the Golan Heights. This was part of Syria until Israel captured it in 1967. Today, the Golan Heights is home to some 20 or 25,000 Jews and another 20 or 25,000 Arabs or Druze. The Golan Heights has now been officially annexed by Israel. Another feature of the map to know about is something called the Green Line, or in Hebrew, the Kav HaYarok. This is the dotted line that represents the 1949 armistice lines that ended the 1948-49 war and is the internationally recognized border of Israel. Today, the Green Line circles the area of the West Bank and around the Gaza Strip. Please keep in mind that the War of Independence never had a formal resolution or peace agreement. Rather, the fighting just stopped with an armistice agreement, and today this is where we drew the international borders. In the news, we often hear about something called the security barrier, or as some people call it, the security wall. It's not really proper to call this a wall because over 90% of it is actually chain link fence. It's only a wall in a few places where extra security is needed, but those are often the places that show up in photographs in popular media sources. This barrier was erected during the second Palestinian uprising called the Intifada in 2002 and 3, when there was a huge uptick in the number of suicide bombers entering Israel from the West Bank. The barrier really worked to reduce the number of suicide bombs to near zero. And generally speaking, the barrier follows the Green Line, except where there are Jewish settlements that need to be protected. Let's also take a moment and talk about Israel's neighbors today. You can see Egypt to the south of Israel. Israel and Egypt have had a peace agreement since 1979, and it's often referred to in Israel as a cold peace, because while it has held for all of these years, it has never produced strong people-to-people ties. Jordan was always more of a moderate country when it came to Israel. King Hussein, the previous king of Jordan, for example, seemed to have real connections with Israelis and with the Israeli government well before there was a formal peace, and joined the Six-Day War mostly because of peer pressure from other Arab countries. Jordan tends to have a warmer peace with Israel. While there is a warmer relationship, it's also worth noting that more than 20% of Jordan's population are registered Palestinian refugees, and it is believed that over 50% of the population is of Palestinian descent. Lebanon and Syria, which sit at Israel's northern border, still have hostile relationships with Israel. Both countries are really proxy countries for Iran. And it's important to know that Lebanon has basically collapsed as an independent country going all the way back to the 1982 war. Hezbollah, an Iranian proxy, is the main force in Lebanon today. There is already a war going on between Israel and Iran through its proxies, including Hamas and Hezbollah based in southern Lebanon. Hezbollah possesses approximately 150,000 rockets, missiles, and drones. Thousands of rockets have been fired into Israel since October 7th, and nearly 60,000 Israelis are displaced from northern Israel because of that rocket fire. Israel has fought 2 wars in Lebanon. The first sought to displace the Palestinian Liberation Organization, or PLO, from southern Lebanon in 1982, and to end terrorist attacks by the PLO into Israel at that time. Israel continued to occupy southern Lebanon until 2000. During this period, between 1982 and 2000, Hezbollah was founded. In 2000, Israel withdrew based on promises from the UN that a security zone would be established to prevent Hezbollah from moving in. Ultimately, Hezbollah moved up to the Israeli border and instigated a war against Israel in 2006, and has continued to fire rockets at different times into Israel ever since. Now that we've gotten grounded in all of the basic facts and figures and understand the map of Israel, we're ready to dive in even deeper to the history. In the next chapter, we're going to explore the origin of the term Palestine and Palestinian. It's going to help us understand the past, the present, and maybe even the future. Join us for the next chapter as well.